well. So if you've got any questions, or if you have a question that you want to ask, or if you want to take it somewhere,
Okay.
by all means speak up. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of just go with whatever comes out here. So with your mother, that was coming up earlier. We were talking about her connection, but is she going through something right now, or it's like she's on your mind or on the family's mind about something, like something about the house, like moving?
We've been telling her to sell the house, but
Okay, yeah, that's
our siblings still there. So,
right. Okay, she's taking care of him.
so my two little, well, they're not that little, they're in their 20s.
Right.
But they're hardly ever home. And us as brothers, we want them to somewhat kind of move out of there. So
Yeah, or do something to take care of her.
sell that house because she actually wants to go to Mexico.
And she's being held back. Well, she cares a lot about them. She's always seen herself as being like the rock of the family,
Yeah.
as being like the glue that holds everything together. So, I mean, this is really common in Mexican families, but
So, my sister too. So
right, like people who you take care of everybody, but the thing is, it's like that's a big burden for your mom and your sister, and they're the types of people that don't say nothing about it. They'll hold it inside. So their pains, their hardship in life, they don't have anybody to come to their aid because they're the ones giving the aid to everybody else. So it's not like it's intentional or anything, but your mom is feeling kind of alone in that regard. And so is your sister too, but it's like your mom has been down this rodeo for decades, and she's feeling the pressure from it. But she won't. It's like what I'm hearing her say is, I'm not going to abandon them. I'm not going to abandon him, especially him. It's like, of those two younger siblings you've got, the older one, she's the most concerned about. Because it's like he's been going through job after job after job after job, and it's like he won't have nothing to land or stick. Because he's actually a very creative person. He's a very artistic person, very out there. But it's also why people don't get along with him after a while, because he'll butt heads a lot. Because he's not afraid to speak up against what he sees as injustices of the world and all that. He's like a black sheep. It's the kind of vibe I get, you know? He's misunderstood. And the difficult thing is, it's not anybody's fault or nothing, but sometimes as black sheep, because I'm a black sheep in my family, sometimes that's just the path that we're meant to take. We're not always supposed to be understood, but as far as his life is concerned, he's got to hold on to the reins. He's got to figure out how he's going to walk his walk without being so dependent on people to drag him down, because there's this toxic relationship he's got with your mom. And it's like, he knows she's going to take care of him when he's got nobody else to take care of him, but he don't believe in himself enough because he's let the negativity of what he sees in life kind of like overwhelm him. So that's all he's going to point out now, is just everything that's negative, everything's blah, blah. And it's not necessarily wrong, but he's a very emotionally sensitive person. It's very important for him to express what he expresses, get it off his chest, but he's not really doing that. He's repressing it with drugs and weed. So, you know, anybody could tell you that, but she's not the kind that's going to be like, let him go, let him out from the streets. She's tried doing that again and again and again and again, but it's like she's got that hook on him too, because she sees it as her responsibility. If he falls, that was her. But it's not really that way, you know? And then he sees it as like, well, mom's the only one who's going to bail me out and help me because I'm dependent on her. But that's not really the truth. He doesn't have to be dependent on nobody, right? So there's this shadow side to both of them that are lining up perfectly. So in the family, it actually doesn't do justice. I'm about to say something here that might be a little bit taboo in the family, But it doesn't do your mother any justice to have all the peanut gallery telling her everything about like how bad he is, how she needs to let him go, blah 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 blah. It just reinforces the cycle with her, actually. It just makes her realize how much of a loner he is in the family more, and that makes that pull to wanting to rescue him much stronger. So it would actually be better if nobody said nothing. Do you know what I'm kind of getting at here?
Yeah.
Like to give them both space so that they can sort of unwind this yarn ball, this knot, so they can see from all angles, not just one angle, you know, telling the same story again and again and again. It's like beating a dead horse. Like, to actually give them the space to untie that knot. It might take a while because it's going to take space. You know, anything that takes time actually takes space, because in order for there to be time, there has to be space first. So they need that space to sort of like sort things out on their own. They can't be having all this external crap. Well, I shouldn't say it that way, but all this external information clouding the judgment or the situation or the vision of that perspective that your mom's living and that he's living.
Yeah.
So my guides are saying we should talk about you now, not just about your family, because it's like you've got that same bone in your body that mom's got, where it's like you want to be able to take care of your people, of your family, of your loved ones, which is also a part of why you like to keep your circle small and close. You don't want it big and all these moving parts and everything. It's just overwhelming to you because you like to be intimate with your connections with all people. So there's a little bit of like a boundary thing here too that you're learning in your life, where it's real hard for you, just like with your mom, because you can really relate to see people that you really love struggle, because you take it upon yourself as that's my duty, I've got to take the struggle off of them. But when we do that, we actually get in the way of their karma. And I want to say something here. Karma is not like you deserve this, it's good or bad, you know, here's the scale, you're going to weigh it all here, so you've got to balance it back this way. It's easy for us to get caught up on that, but karma is better realized as a substance. Think of it as a clay. Karma is a kind of clay. What kind of clay you got? How much clay do you got? Is it moist? Is it dry? Are you trying to build a structure that's difficult with the kind of clay that you've got? A lot of times people are doing this, and that's where you see struggle in life and resistance occurring. Is where pretend you've got like red clay and you're trying to build a white clay structure, and your clay is more moist, but you need drier clay to be able to build, you know, the ladder that you want to be able to step onto that. And every time you're doing it, it crumbles, and you're like, well, shit, why is my life so hard? Why am I having all these repeating challenges? And also, do you want to talk about is she your wife?
Yeah, Vanessa.
You want to talk about her too?
She will be my wife.
Right. Well, you guys feel like it.
Yeah. We see each other like that.
I've seen it 6 years or something you've been together, or
more.
Okay. The number 6 is significant. You might this might click with you later, which is why I always make these videos. But she's going through some major transitions in her life right now, and you're having a hard time being a bystander, watching. So here's the difficult thing. It's like your life is going at this pace in this direction, and she's got all these different parts that are moving, all these opportunities, and it's not steady and it's not on a clear path of trajectory. You like to keep your life simple like that, and you're like, go with the flow, smooth and slow. That's the way to go. So it's very stable, right? But she's not. She's got like, her life could totally turn on a dime, like in the next month, and she'd be like a different person, or she'd be living a different life. That is not only stressful for both of you regarding the logistics of how you're living together and everything, but it feels alienating, and that triggers you because you don't like to feel left. You don't like to feel abandoned. You don't like to feel like someone just leaves you or puts you in the dust, which you had happen to a particular relationship. that left a big impact on you before you met her.
Yeah, it was the first time.
Right, and she
Yeah.
fucking burned you bad, man. She left you out in the cold and pulled a fast one. So you're the kind of guy where you're like, nope, never gonna let that happen ever again. And so I understand because I've had the same thing happen to me over and over, actually. But sometimes when we harden up like that, there's still some things to heal from that. Not the fact that it's a relationship, but it's like the impact it left on you needs to be healed. And so that does take, for you, a longer period of time, more slow and steady kind of approach that is frustrating for your soon-to-be wife. Because she does not operate that way. She operates quick, fast, and light, keeping on her toes kind of thing. And if she goes slow and steady, she feels heavy and weighted down. So you guys are still learning about how to maybe play with that dynamic. It's not necessarily a bad dynamic. You guys love each other. That's apparent, and you've got a good relationship. You balance each other out. So just keep that in mind. There's some things to talk about because you're more of the kind of person to kind of like keep things to yourself and internalize all the issues as like, this is something I gotta figure out. She doesn't like that. I think she's actually voiced that a couple of times. She's like, be more vocal. I need to understand what you're talking about. Like, where are you at? And you're like closed off. It's not really that you're closed off. It's just that you need some time to warm up to that. You know, it's like you gotta dip your toe in the bathwater first and be like, hold the phone. You know, like let me slowly get my feet in. I'm not just gonna dunk in cannonball style. Does she know about your past relationship?
She knows.
She knows, like, so I feel like she understands. Because you've talked about that. It's uncomfortable for you to talk about that, but I mean, you made concessions. You guys really compromised quite a bit, actually. So, that's the situation with her. Yeah, is there a question?
No, because I've tried to leave that like past to, because I don't know if stuff from the past that still holds me back or not.
Not mentally. No, mentally you're totally moved on. But the thing is, like, a lot of times our body holds on to things longer than our brain can, our mind can, and it's like an imprint there. It's because like you trust your gal, but there's always that little voice in the back. It's like, well, what if she gets up and she leaves one day? And she could, but there's something emotional that needs to be worked on. Whether you have somebody helping you with that or not, but I feel like the way that you are, you got to work on this yourself and like actually work on it, not just distract yourself. Because you're good at distracting yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, you're very good at distracting yourself with meaningful tasks. Because you'll almost like play tricks on yourself. You'll be like, well, I got work to do. I got something to do that's gonna put food on the table, or I've got something that's gonna be beneficial. You're all about like the nuts and bolts, the reality of the situation, and just be mindful about how you use that as your meaningful distraction. Because you almost like trick yourself in that way. It's like, well, yeah, I can do this because it's important, right? Yeah, but you're always going to put that in place. You're always going to use that as the excuse to not have like wasteful time where you're just sitting there, you're meditating, however that looks to you.
And I'm trying to teach myself how to manage myself, or kind of de-stress and kind of evolve a little bit.
It's going to sound really counterintuitive, but you got to let yourself unravel emotionally. And that's going to look like being inefficient, being wasteful. Why should I be? It's the flavor it has is like, do I deserve this, or why am I taking up space? Why? It's not doing nothing. That comes from mom too. But it's ironically one of the most meaningful things you could do.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like the emotions don't have a rhyme or reason. There's nothing logical about the process. It doesn't go in a straight line either, which is going to challenge you because, like, when you're really working on how you feel, it's pretty simple. It's just allowing what you feel to come through so that you can express it.
Yeah, so I don't express too much.
No, you don't,
So, yeah.
because you judge yourself for it. Because you're like, I got to do something about it.
Yeah, because growing up, you know, because of the way my childhood was,
Yeah.
it got to the point where I would cry a lot and be
Say
very
boys don't
emotional.
cry, you know.
And I pushed myself not to be that sensitive or emotional.
And you're hurting yourself. I was the same way,
Mhm.
you know, because my dad was like, "What are you crying for?" But
So
we're
now,
human beings.
for me to get in touch with my intuition, I have to like reach that part that I blocked for so long or something.
I literally just heard this as you're saying this.
Yeah.
Weakness is a strength. It takes a strong ass man to be vulnerable, emotional.
And that's something I
Yeah, because you're like,
Yeah.
because you associate it with being vulnerable, with being like someone's going to take advantage of you, someone's going to hurt you, because you're soft. But think about water. Water can be hard, like in a pressure washer, or it can be soft and smooth, like a flowing river. But there's power in flow. Because if you're hard about everything all the time, that itself is a weakness. It's like we know that. We just have to practice that. And it's easier said than done, right?
yes.
But that's why I think when you do this at first, it would be helpful to be alone, so that there's not going to be anybody but yourself to judge you. You're going to judge the crap out of yourself probably the first couple times you do it, but as you allow yourself, I keep seeing like a place in the woods. Like, do you go hiking ever, or like go walking in the wilderness?
No, not too much.
You should try. Do you go hunting?
No, been wanting to do it.
Dude, you got to do that.
Mhm.
I feel like that is where you're going to have your spiritual awakening. Because there's just time. There's time and there's space for you to unload, to unravel, and just see the emotional state of how you are.
Yeah.
Just to accept it, just to see it, invite it to the table, and let it express what it needs to express. Yeah, there's going to be tears. Yes, there's going to be shouting. You've got a lot of anger too, a lot of frustration, and a lot of sorrow and guilt and sadness, and let it all come through. You might be crying like a baby.
Yeah, because I'm trying to let all that go because I feel like I don't think about the past, but I don't feel like I'm moving forward. It's like something's holding me back.
Yeah.
I do want to like evolve, I guess, awaken spiritually. So yeah.
It's a different creature, because mentally you're there, you did the work, but emotionally it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a line that looks like that
And
in progress.
And I kind of do see that separation that I'm ready for, but something is still preventing.
It's why you feel like empty a lot of times. It's why you feel like, what else is there? Like, I've got everything down that I'm supposed to, but why am I feeling like something's missing? Why do I feel like something's itching at me? It's because you want to just experience what you feel. As simple as that is.
Yeah, and I know I get the sounds in my ears all the time.
Those are your guides telling you.
Yeah.
The ones who passed on. Your great grandma, your abuela. She's like coming through, and she's like, "You got this. It's okay."
So I get it on
Mom and
both
dad's side,
sides,
yeah,
so
you get the fraternal and the maternal, for sure. You got a big team behind you. You got like a lot of ancestors. They fill the room. They go all the way back. It's not just from Mexico. It's from like the Yucatan. It's like Mayan kind of stuff, like Guatemala.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys literally have like living ancestors now who are in some of those Central American countries.
It's El Salvador. I on my dad's side. I have family there that I don't know. So yeah.
But, like, it's like far separated. It's like cousins and stuff.
That I've The only ones that I have met was in California. It's just been seldom because then I moved over here. So.
So I think the forest is really, really, really healing for you. It's a really good place to go to like kind of usher this in. What do we have for time? Oh yeah, we're about 5 minutes over. That's okay though. You needed it. I hope this is really helpful for you, my guy.
It's gonna help that portion of it, and
There's only so much you can be prepared for because part of the journey is you launching into that without having a map, without having like a strategy. Because there is nothing to strategize. It's just to feel what you feel, and it's gonna feel really, it's gonna feel a lot.
I tried the meditation thing, and I still need to work on it because it's not all. I don't think I'm all there yet.
Well, that's the thing though, because in popular culture, we're being taught meditation is being empty, having no thoughts, having calmness and peace and everything. That's not true. Whatever thoughts are coming through, you've got to observe them. That's it. So if your mind is going nuts, if you're having like lots of stuff happen, ride through it.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes it's just.
It's a lot. Well, it's a lot because you've held it back, man. And think about a dam being held back for like 10, 15 years. You open the floodgate, all sorts of crud's going to come through, Like, it's not going to be water just coming through. It's going to be like dust and like a butt plug coming out like all
Just trying to figure it out.
jellified and everything. Yeah. So let it be messy.
Because I like to control it.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. You want it to be clean. You want it to be executed, expedited, smooth, and then you've reinforced that with your ego too, because that's what other people see you as, because you've kept that other part of you locked away. So that's why I'm saying you got to be with yourself and let it be messy, and not just one time, for however many times. Don't put a number on it. Don't put an expectation on it. 5 minutes or 50 minutes. It doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter. You've got to start. You've got to let it be what it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Any blessings to you? Yeah, take my card.
Yeah, I did grab it.
Okay. Find me on Facebook and keep in touch with me.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll send you a link to this once I upload it on my Google Drive, so you can have access to it, download it, whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Appreciate it. Yes.